Hi everyone, thanks for joining us again. Jen and I have a fairly full day of work to do in the garden. We've got a bunch of jobs that we would show you around. Jen, and just before I do get into all of that, we've got a number of free live stream events coming up. So if you're not aware of them, jump onto the Jenuine Healing website, jenuinehealing.com, go onto the events page. All the details about the events are there, how you can join the live streams on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of the taps are there as well. So two very powerful events. Jen?
What's really exciting is these global events that we are doing is coinciding with us getting it out in the garden and showing these informative little things about how we're perpetuating our caretaking abilities on the planet. So what's really interesting is we are kind of walking the walk, babies. I'm not used to any of this stuff, and it's really interesting for me to learn with you and through you.
No, that's interesting. We're walking and chewing gum at the same time, so that's always a good thing. Look, it's one thing for spiritual people to sit up on high and pontificate. It's another to actually do it. So that's what we're doing here, and so we're actually living what we're saying. And the other thing I'd say is that in us doing this, we are already at one level of consciousness manifesting the spiritual property that is our intention to bring to the world. So there's that as well.
Yeah, so we're reinstating ourselves as caretakers of the earth, and we're encouraging every single one of you in the smallest way possible, reinstate yourself as a caretaker of the earth. And that way you are reconnecting to the earth and to source on such a profound level.
And our co-anchor here is, of course, Maisie. Maisie's funny. She, every time the camera rolls, she's like, what's my line? What's my line? Do I have the right angle? Is the lighting good? It's like, wow, she is the performer. She knows that she's on camera.
Oh my gosh. I have a story about Seema, her in her past lifetime. When I did this photo shoot, right by my feet, she laid by my feet as if the photo shoot was for her as well. So it's just so funny to see.
All right, so Jen, I'm going to be showing folks what we're doing. There's a couple of jobs, so I'll walk you through it nice and slowly. And Jen, you're going to be behind the camera.
Yeah.
You're going to be narrating a little bit. There is a little bit of wind in the background. We are going to be investing in a little bit of technology to improve the audio and the video quality of these things, these out and about. So just bear with us while we do that. It is quite the investment. So we all just need to put all of that into perspective.
Yeah, two things. We're doing our best as far as technology, and Marvin's working as fast as he can, and our budget will afford for us to update technology. The other thing about the wind is the trees are able to communicate through the wind. So if you hear the wind, it's fine. It's the trees communicating through the wind and through sharing their aroma. But you can't smell that because we don't have smell-o-vision.
Well, babies, I'm putting the intention of that smell-o-vision out there, so yes,
awesome.
Just imagine it. Okay, so let's change scenes and I'll get you behind the camera.
Yeah, babies.
So the first job that we've got is to plant the seeds for strawberries. So we showed you last time we had some store-bought strawberries. They were quite mature already. We transplanted them in their planter boxes. We'll show you another piece of doing that. But we're also going to try and propagate them from seed. So Jen, if you can come in nice and close, we've got 9 strawberry seed packets. And I don't know if you guys know, but strawberry seed is incredibly fickle and fine. So it's quite difficult to manhandle. I've already prepared the little seedling trays. Jen, you might want to come in.
And apologies for the lighting. We're doing the best we can with this. We understand. Okay.
So these 12 we've already seeded a couple of days ago, but then we ran out of seed. So I'm going to do this bunch of 12 and there's another bank of 24 over there.
How long will it take from planting the seed to seeing it come out of the ground? Do you know?
I don't actually know. This is the first time that I've actually tried to grow strawberry from seed, and I'm not sure how successful we're going to be, to be honest, because if you can just have a look at the mixture that I'm using, the seed propagating, I think is going to be too coarse. I just ran out of composting material and I didn't want to go to the store to get some more just now. So anyway, it is what it is. I don't know how long it's going to take. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've already sort of watered it. The first thing I'm going to do is just poke a little hole about, I don't know, half an inch, not too deep.
So you say composted material. What's the difference between getting it at the store and the cow poop that we get?
Oh, the cow poop is just raw, raw poop. It needs to break down into compost. So, okay, so here are the strawberry seeds. Apparently there's 25 of them in this little packet, and you probably can't even see them. And before the wind blows them all away, I just want to quickly put them in here.
A fun fact about the strawberry seeds is if you eat a strawberry and you see those little black spots on the outside of your strawberry, those are exactly the seeds that grow them. So that's how strawberries are different than other fruits, maybe.
All right, so all I'm doing is I'm just covering those up. It's a very fickle job, so I really don't know how successful these are going to be.
I personally think that it helps to grow them if you send them an intention as you plant them, like pour your love into them, and for cuttings we're going to lick them to give them our intention, but you can't lick these because you won't get them off your tongue once you.
All right, so we won't keep recording as we do all the rest. It's the same basic process. So we'll just pause here for a second and we'll show you our next job as we're ready.
Okay, good job, babies.
Let me know when you're recording. Okay, so that was that. Not exactly sure how successful that's going to be. I do think the potting material that I'm using is a little bit too coarse, but as Jen said, you put the love and the intention in and expect that the universe is going to do its magic, and it is quite magical. So our next job is to rehome these strawberry plants. They are store-bought, so clearly someone else has germinated them from seed, presumably. And Jen, if you can come right in on top. The important thing is that, see right here, that crown. The crown needs to stay above the soil.
It's a little bit dark. Can you turn it a little ways?
Not really. Anyway, see that there? That's what they call the crown. I'll show you on the other one.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. So we're going to replant these, find them a new home. So Jen, do your best to following me around as I get things prepared, okay?
Okay.
So, I've got my trusty compost mix. I've prepared this is where we're going to, way too far away. This is where we're going to rehome them. So I've got some rough soil material down the bottom. And I'm just putting my composted material on the top as a layer.
So the strawberry plants behind you, we planted less than a week ago, right?
These guys here, yeah.
It's so sweet to see them like perk up. You can get a sense of their roots are grabbing the earth now. They're claiming this space as their own, and they're like enjoying their freedom.
You zoom in. This is a great example of the crown. So here's some new growth, if you can see that. And so all the plants have crowns just on top of the soil level, and they're all starting to shoot more shoots. And the interesting thing is that they're nice and strong and healthy, so they're supporting their own weight, and they're buoyant. So that's always really gratifying to see. And so, Jen, you're just going to have to follow me around as I do this.
What's fun for me to know is communicating with the plants and realizing that they know that they're being taken care of, and they feel the value and the love of how we are doing this.
So all I'm doing is I'm putting those there. Jen, you're just going to have to follow me around. I'm sorry about this. This is not going to be an amazing cinematic production, unfortunately. So all I'm doing is I'm putting... I actually think I can get more... Maybe in the future I'll do more per pot. I like these pots. They're water-saving pots. The downside is that they are incredibly expensive. So when you're on a bit of a budget, it can be a challenge. But they are good, and of course you can use them year after year.
Plastic isn't the plant's first choice. They prefer terracotta, but of course those are too heavy and too cumbersome for our use.
Yeah, I think in the future I'm going to see if I can get 8 plants in each box, each planter box. But we've only got 6 at the moment ready to replant, so let's simply use what we've got.
So it's interesting, I can feel their happiness and their security as they're put into the ground, and they know that they're being valued and appreciated.
So I'm just putting composted material all around them, and the trick is to, as best as you can, keep the crown above the soil level.
So the magical thing about putting a plant in a bigger pot is in real time you can actually watch them grow. And it's an energy thing, but you can actually see them get bigger and expand their energy. If you're able to tune in that way, there's nothing more magical than putting a small potted plant in a bigger pot and watch its energy automatically grow bigger.
I'm not sure what else is worth narrating about this. I am pushing things down a little bit, compacting it a little bit.
The silence is beautiful too, babies, because you can actually watch the plants get more confident in where they are and to own their pot instantaneously.
Okay, so that's that. I love these little guys. They're doing great.
Now you will water them after.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Okay, so that's the completion for the plant, is when you water them and then they know they're ready to go.
So the intention is to have probably three of these planter boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along here, and then another bank of 6 a little bit further down that way. And the great thing about these is that you can move them. So, yeah.
You know, it's really interesting for you and I too, is like the fruit is the byproduct of the love and intention in doing it. I mean, of course we'll use the fruit and appreciate it, but just the joy in the growing and the gratitude of watching them grow is a huge part of what we do this for.
Yeah. So my sense is we probably will get another bank of about 6 or 12 store-bought strawberries, because now is the prime growing season. We probably propagated the seeds way too late, because now is the prime growing season. So So just so we don't have to wait, another whole season, I think we'll get another couple of bags of these planter boxes and put them down as well.
Do you think the seeds will grow though?
I'm not sure. For me, at the moment, first time I've done it, so it's an experiment. But I do know that the mix that I'm using probably isn't the best mix to propagate the seeds in. So, look, let the universe surprise us.
So what's interesting is that the viewer is able to learn with us and to watch our attempts and our mistakes and to get a sense of it's okay. Everything's not perfect and nature will do what nature will do, and we're just here to hold that intention for growth and fruit.
All right, so we'll prepare for the next job, and we'll pause it here for a second and get ready for the next one.
See you on the other side.
So you might remember last time we showed you how we were pruning up the rootstock for the stone fruit that we're propagating from, we're creating a rootstock from, what do they call it, cuttings. So we trimmed up all of the cuttings ready to go, and we put them in these little jars filled with water and brown sugar. And we left them there for a couple of days. Not that it's necessarily part of the process that I was looking for, but it's just that we were a little bit too busy to do the next step. So in the meantime, we've left them in the water. We've got the Ziploc bags on the top. You can see, Jen, if you just come in a little bit, you can see how it's creating almost a micro climate in there. And that's just a little trick that I learned from the internet, actually.
Right.
So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be repotting these little fellas actually in two ways. One is in these rooting pots. This is about 4 inches diameter. I think it's diameter, yeah, 4 inches diameter. It's of a reasonably good size. Basically, these pots will only get used to generate the root structures, and once the root structures have been generated, they need to be repotted. So that's the downside of this method, is that there's multiple repottings, and from my experience, doesn't matter what it is, tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever it is that you're growing, when you repot them and disturb the root structure, it does stress the plant. So we're also going to try another method later which might circumvent that whole need to repot. But again, this is experimental. Neither of us have ever done this, but we have it on good authority that it can be done, and we're giving it a go.
And the edge that Marvin and I have, and you as the viewer will have, is one of us, me, communicates with the mother tree and with these little, now they're what would they be called, the little saplings or sprigs. And so we communicate with them. So the first night that we had them home, they're all nestled out here in their little jars, and I can feel their love and excitedness of them. The host trees, they stay connected with the host trees. So the host trees are there, and they're also individuals as well. So it's really interesting to get a sense of how these little sprigs are becoming individualized while also holding the wisdom of the source tree. So we're feeling all that love around us, and they appreciate all this love and attention that's going into them.
So I do need to say one more thing before we start the process of rehoming them. There's 3 jars, and what that means is that we've got 3 variety of stone fruit. So we've got peach, we've got pretty much a cherry nectarine, so just like a tiny dwarf nectarine, and we've got a hybrid plum. And the interesting thing is that all of these cuttings have been sourced from our foraging out in nature. So they're not, they haven't been sourced from a nursery or anything else, commercial farm.
Well, and what's interesting is what I'm getting in energy right now is the original tree that reached out to me was the fig tree. And we are going to go back to the fig tree. And Marvin, this isn't something that you know. The fig tree is reaching out to me in distress because it knows that its days there on the side of that road are numbered.
Wow.
They might have, wherever it's landed, they have intentions to widen that road or whatever, and it's going to be gone. So it wants to be propagated as much as possible. So that makes it more vital that we get as many fig trees out of there that we can.
That actually makes sense, and it'll make sense to the listener or the viewer when we show you, because some earth-moving equipment has been in there recently, and it is butting right up against that fig tree, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay, but what I did want to say about this is that this is the peach, and we've named this one Kelly Peach because the mother tree was on a thing called Kelly Lane. So we've called that one Kelly Peach. This one we've called Nelly Nectarine, just as an alliteration. And this one we're calling Abundance Plum. And the reason why we're calling it Abundance Plum is because the mother tree, or the source tree, was our original abundance tree last season. It was the first very abundant plum tree, hybrid plum tree that we found, and it was just heaven sent to us. It was just a magical source of abundance for us.
Can I tell them the story?
Really quickly.
Okay, so I was at a low ebb, like coming to Australia and getting used to everything, and we just went for a car ride, and we came across this tree, and it was like filled with fruit, and it reminded me of the childhood times of getting fruit off wild trees, and it just brought me back to life. And the love between us and this tree is incredible, so we promised it we would perpetuate its children.
Okay, all right, let's get into it, because otherwise it's going to be too long an episode. All right, so what I've got here is my composted soil. Now I don't care that it's a fairly rough mixture. There's quite a bit of barky type material. They've clearly put it through a wood chipper and whatever, but one of the first things I'm going to be doing is putting in some phosphorus, and phosphorus is great for root growth and propagation. So this is what phosphorus looks like. It's just a naturally sourced mineral. So I'm putting phosphorus in the mix, and I'm going to be mixing that up a little bit, and so we've got a little bit of phosphorus in and amongst the mix.
How do you know how much to use?
I have no science for it, Jen. I really don't. And at one level, I really don't care, but just some.
So you just use your gut feeling, which is the best.
I have no scientific method of knowing these amounts. Okay, so I'm just going to be filling up these pots, Jen. I think we'll stop the recording here because it's just really boring. But, sorry, what I will do is just show you nice and quickly is when we do fill these guys up, I am going to pat them down a little bit and create quite a rigid structure for them. Okay, so we'll just pause here, and we're going to be putting together about, I think I've got 24 of these pots, so
we'll
see as many as we can.
See you in a little bit. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna help this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a sow and a piece of fertile ground. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way through nature's chain as I use my body and my brain for the growing of the all. Make your rows straight and tall, temper them with prayer and song.
So now that I've put the soil in the pots, the first thing I need to do is water them all down so that it creates a fairly compact structure. And we'll show you the next steps.
Just keeping the patio clean. Marvin's constantly hosing it down. And it's just like a master chef will keep his surfaces clean. Marvin's constantly hosing this down. It's just, to me, it's very spiritual that he does this. You can actually feel the love and the spaciousness in the patio because of such attention to it all the time. So I think of parents with teenagers who ask their teenagers to clean their room, and their teenagers say, "Why? Why? It's my room." And a reason to tell them is because that attention to details, that care for your things, creates a spaciousness in your workspace, in your living quarters, so that you are more clear to create and produce and to be grateful.
So now that we've potted them up and watered them out a little bit, I'm just going to grab a stick and pretty much poke a hole all the way down the bottom. The reason for this will become quite apparent in a second.
Yeah, I guess the reason is you don't want the little stick to have to push through resistance and put pressure on it, right, babies?
The stem that we're trying to propagate.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Okay, so that's that. We're going to be planting up 8 of each variety today, and whatever we've got left over we'll use method 2, and we'll do that a different day. So just for today, I'm just going to take 8 of these, and what I'm doing previously, you remember we cut and we scored, and then all of the new root structures will kind of grow.
Very thin, right, babies?
Yeah, absolutely. From that, step 2 is I'm using a rooting. Some people have a rooting powder. This is a I don't know. It's a liquid. It's kind of like a, I don't know what you call it, but so just putting that through, and it just helps in the propagation, and then put that all the way down the bottom. So hopefully at this stage it will become apparent why I poked a hole in there first and then patting it down nice and hard.
So where would they get that rooting solution?
Well, I don't know. Any hardware store would be my guess. A nursery. I don't know. People work it out. Just Google it.
Okay.
People are good at working things out.
It's not something I've ever heard of, so it's interesting to hear that it's out there and people use it every day. So it's nice to know of new things.
What's interesting is the second one, this one here, I didn't leave any leaf material on the top, so you'll notice that. And it actually doesn't require it, to be honest, because it will propagate new leaf from all of these little nodules, which I'm going to notch out in a second. So we'll pause the video. The method is the same, and then we'll show you where we're at when we're kind of done.
I just want to show them how taking those 2 sticks, those 2 samples, putting them in the ground, you can actually see their pride and their ownership of their little pot already, and they know that they're going to be a gigantic tree. So that's really interesting. Another thing is, when you're doing this, already visualize them as a huge tree that they will be, because trees are timeless, and they already see themselves as the huge trees. I planted flowers in my garden today. until the sun went very far away. We are like the seeds planted into life to grow and given what we need until the day we finally break through the ground, standing there in the light and sound.
So we finished all of our Kelly Peaches, the 8 that we're doing potting up today. These are the Nelly nectarines, and it's basically the same method. So I've prepared again my 8 pots, so we're just doing 8 of these for today, and then we're just scorching below the bark because that's where the root structure is going to grow, and putting them in nice and solid, and we'll have a whole bunch of nectarines.
So the thing about me is once we have more than 8 in that little jar, and once we commit to making them trees, in my heart of hearts, I can't let them not be turned into trees, so we have to honor each one of those. And so Marvin has another method, which is a little bit more convenient to create trees about.
I'm not sure if it's convenient. Oh, actually, no, I think it is probably more convenient. It's a different method, so I'm always interested in trying something new. I didn't invent the method. I saw it being used by some other guy on the internet. The internet's actually a great resource for, everything, but when used correctly. But it's also full of a lot of bullshit, by the way. But for the kind of stuff that we're interested in, which is promoting and propagating higher consciousness truth, we rely on the internet, and otherwise we can't get content out to you guys.
I just realized that it's our equivalent of Thanksgiving Day here in Australia. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving Day, but this is our Thursday. America's Thanksgiving is tomorrow. But what we are doing is the whole day is full of gratitude because we are honoring the earth. We're putting more love into the planet, and that's how we choose to celebrate this holiday.
So not a turkey, not various other things.
We're not going to kill anything. We're not going to travel around the world and as gas guzzlers and spend our time in a airport complaining about the flights. Anyways, is this good, babies?
Yeah.
All right. See you in a little bit.
So we finished our Kelly Peaches, our Nelly nectarines, and we're now working on the Abundance plums. And the way you can tell a plum tree, by the way, is that they've got a very distinctive leaf colour. This is not the colour that they turn in autumn, or I think you guys in America call it fall. This is their natural colour. So that's just something interesting to know. So when we're driving around, it's very, very easy for us to spot the plum trees because they're so distinct in their foliage.
What's interesting in Australia is that you can find so many rogue trees that you can just get fruit off of. In America, it's harder to do that because if trees don't have pesticides on them or whatever, they have small, deformed fruit. But in America, I can tell a fruit tree by the shininess of its bark. I know that's true for cherry and apple trees. But tell me if I'm right, if anyone knows the answer to that, if that's always true. Gentle babies.
Sometimes. Sometimes a little bit of vigor is helpful. I'm actually glad we're only doing 24 of these today because we're starting to run out of our rooting gel. So,
But what's interesting is now we know we have a gauge of how much we need for each project.
yeah, that's true.
And we do have to rescue the figs and the plum tree next to the fig tree. So,
Yeah.
so that's on our list of things to do, is to rescue the fig and plum tree before they're demolished. Now, if anyone's out there and you feel pulled to a certain tree, perhaps you're being called to help a tree because it knows that it might be on a hit list, a human hit list. So, you'd feel bad in the long run if you don't do anything. So hopefully, this doesn't need to just be true to grow just fruit trees. If you have a tree that you need to save or take to your next home because you're moving, this is a way to take your favorite tree to your new home with you, or to save your tree and give it life in another part of the community. Anything else you want to say here, babies?
No, so the next step is I'm just going to top these up. We're going to re-water them. So if you have a look down here, we've got our Kelly plums over there. We've got our Nelly nectarines. These are all of our abundance plums. So I'm just going to put more composted material in there. We're going to water them, and then we're going to put Ziploc bags over each one of them so they've got their individual microclimate.
Yeah.
That's the end of this job then.
So we create a little bit of greenhouse effect in a positive way for each of those little trees, right, babies?
Absolutely. All right, that was fun. We're glad that we're able to share that with you. Hopefully you got a lot out of it. Let us know if you want to keep up to date with the progress of not only these things, but our strawberries and our basil and our tomatoes and cucumbers and capsicum and peppers and everything else.
Absolutely. We're enjoying giving this to you to give you something informational to watch that's not manipulative and controlling, but just all about you empowering yourself to give back as a caretaker of Earth.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to catching you next time, and bye for now.
Bye for now, everybody. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.